Dr. Jacqueline Sabga, Chairman of Vitas House Hospice, Mrs. Alaha Hassan Ali, former First Lady of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Lila Mutu, General Manager of Vitas House Hospice, specially invited guests, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, a good afternoon to you all. The Vitas House Hospice has established itself as a type of institutional palliative, providing the terminally ill with quality treatment. At the heart of such treatment are core and active principles of human dignity, genuine respect, and compassionate care. For the terminally ill, that erosion of personal independence and space, that sense of hopelessness and eventuality can batter and even destroy the most resilient of spirits. It is made worse if appropriate support systems that can help weather that life storm for the terminally ill, family members and friends are not in place. As I stated last year, I lost my father a few years ago to the ravages of brain cancer. So when I speak on the issue of terminal illness, I speak from an informed and lived experience. I am very much aware of the frustrations, the care required, the drugs needed, and what drugs cannot be sourced locally, the chances of survival, and that feeling of helplessness. Many times, my family and I would have our moments of desperation, ably abetted and assisted by one of the world's best-known physicians, Dr. Google. Yes, that technology giant of a fellow who provides you with the latest information, giving you hope, and sometimes taking it away. Each family member or caregiver of a terminally ill cancer patient who dies becomes a veritable survivor with the caregiver burnout. And that underestimated fact creates an unseen but spiritual bond that has us here today. We hold hands by our sense of humanity and fellowship to each other, and by a need to never, ever give up. Under the fine stewardship of Dr. Jacqueline Sabga, her executives and staff, the Vitas House Hospice is one vehicle that fruitfully drives this human advocacy to give self-worth, self-definition, comfort, and respectful control to those in their final moments. Yes, so many of us here are truly survivors. Howard and Jacqueline, and the rest of the Sabga family circle, I empathize with you in your moment of great bereavement at the loss of that great son of the soil, Dr. Anthony Norman Sabga, ORTT. My condolences to you all. Hospice care is critical to the terminally ill, providing a comprehensive and compassionate transition. It puts in place and provides for an interdisciplinary medical team, pain management, symptom control, and spiritual and emotional bootstraps. These support those specific individual needs and even the timely but urgent aspirations of the dying patient. Hospice care has certainly gone beyond the stage of the 11th century, when a hospice was a designated place of refuge for those dying during those religious wars of the Crusades. Dr. Michelle T. Weckman, writing in the American Family Physician, could not describe it better, the impact and true meaning of hospice care, and I quote, "Hospice is built around the key concept that the dying patient has physical, psychological, social, and spiritual aspects of suffering. Hospice is a philosophy, not a specific place," end quote. I recall reading sentiments expressed by a 68-year-old terminally ill patient about that philosophy, what that philosophy can do and has done. She stated, and I quote, "My hospice care nurses have encouraged me to try to make the most of every day. I say, I love you a lot more, and I try to be honest about my feelings to myself and to others, end quote. It is indeed regrettable that such expressed emotions, triggered in moments of human peril and anguish, are not a daily feature and occurrence in our human interaction and discourse with each other. There is, however, a mindset with regard to hospice care that needs to be eradicated. There is a misconception that hospice care is a way of saying all is lost, that it is about giving up on life, and even to acceding to a lower type of medical care. Genuine hospice care is exceptional, and I can say with assurance that the Vitas House has passed that litmus test. Hospice care is grounded in ensuring a quality of life for the terminally ill. It gives back the terminally ill his or her sense of control over decisions to be made and things to be put in place. Within limitations, of course, it provides the terminally ill with some measure of fulfilling that proverbial bucket list, social or otherwise. We live in a world of enigma where people in our Caribbean region suffer not from the abuse of painkillers, but rather from the absence of them. In the first world, there is a pandemic in prescription drug abuse for painkillers. Many in the Caribbean who require drugs like oxycodone, opioid analgesics, cannot simply source them and sometimes die painful deaths. We are often burdened by onerous regulations that are systemic and systematic with indifference, institutional apathy, and not enough forward thinking and a perceived lack of care. Having spoken to many health professionals and doctors, there appears to be a deepening concern with accessing promptly old drugs and new drugs. Only today, in the daily newspapers, this fact was reiterated by the Honorable Minister of Health, and it is anticipated that such a realization and concern will trigger the necessary action. This has been an ongoing problem for many years in Trinidad and Tobago and the wider Caribbean. Hospice always supports palliative care, and palliative care requires management with pain thresholds. Dr. Dingle Spence, a Jamaican oncology and palliative medicine physician, has stated that although opioids are available in our country, and she quotes, "The supply is disrupted by so-called stockouts, demand exceeding supply because of bureaucracy. There is not enough understanding about timely ordering. The amount of permits needed to bring them into the country slows down the timely flow," end quote. I would add to this also the requirement of timely anticipation of necessary drugs. Drug approval is a tick in the hide of hospice care and general medical care. A major problem we have been facing for many years is getting drugs approved for Vitas House. There is a nagging delay in drug approval and a systemic lack of initiative by the authorities to revamp and retool this whole process of drug approvals. I am painfully aware that there is a particular medication that we, as part of the Vitas House Hospice family, have requested permission from the designated authorities to ease the physical plight of the terminally ill at Vitas House, and for years, nothing is forthcoming. Yet, interestingly enough, this drug has already been approved by the United States Food and Drug Agency, FDA, for many years. For example, 2 drugs used for pain in hospice care for terminally ill patients are oxycodone and Vicodin, approved by the US FDA for years, and still not available in the local market. In May this year, in 2017, the drug Radicava, a potential cure and lifesaver of Lou Gehrig disease, a motor neuron disease, was approved for use by the United States Food and Drug Agency. At the present pace, approval of this orphan drug can take years, forcing persons at home to utilize foreign currency to get proper treatment before they die. We need to stop twiddling our thumbs. We need to aggressively and proactively collaborate with our brothers and sisters in Cuba, where clinical trials have revealed the potential of a cancer drug. Chimovax, that cures lung cancer, and other drugs that cure pediatric brain tumors. The plight of those fighting in the trenches in the dispensation of palliative care at hospice cannot and must not go unnoticed. The urgency of now demands immediate action from the requisite stakeholders and the designated authorities. I thank you, ladies and gentlemen.